Thanks. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why it doesn't. Never happened.
No, it hasn't happened because I brought the card and I wanted to see it. Wow.
Maybe that's why. Yeah, maybe the recording. When it starts, I'll go to camera.
30 seconds. What? 30 seconds.
Oh, I can hear that. When you're doing it. Oh, no, that's.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to church. Welcome to First Parish in Concord. I am Reverend Liz Weber, your Minister for Pastoral Care, and I'm so glad to be with you here this morning. Whether you're here in person or online, watching later on YouTube, it is good to be together, good to be in worship. For those of you who are here online this morning, Jan Power is our Zoom chat host. So she's here to help you out with any questions you have or just help you get connected with the service and with the congregation. For those of you who are here in the building, we are glad you are here, and I want to tell you a little bit about our accessibility and a little bit about our COVID precautions. If you could use a hearing boost, we have hearing assist devices in the back. You can ask the ushers for one. If you could use an elevator, that is through the left, through the doors to your left, and it goes to all levels of our building. Restrooms are on the lower floor. All restrooms have wheelchair accessible spots, and we have a couple of gender neutral bathrooms as well. It's so good to be here this morning. I'm glad you are here. And I'm grateful to all of you for taking care of this community. To keep us safer in the pandemic, masks must be worn inside the building. Also, social distance, please. Our worship leaders, choir, and teachers are all vaccinated. We strongly encourage vaccination for everyone, as this is how we take care of ourselves and one another. The choir, excited bonus, today we have our combined choirs of adult and gospel choir singers together with both Brendan and Anderson leading us. I am super excited. I heard them rehearse and we are all in for a treat. Our choir will sing an anthem. Today, as a congregation, we are going to sing a very short opening hymn and then a regular closing hymn. It's actually one hymn split into two, but it's a little bit more singing today than we have done in the past. It's still well within our boundaries of what the science says is entirely safe and low risk. We are keeping the windows open to improve ventilation, and the weather is improving as well. I didn't even bring my hat today. Yeah. We would like to remind you to stay home if you're not feeling well, even if you think it's just a cold. COVID is sneaky. If you or your family members test positive, please call or email a member of the church staff. We're here for you. And if there's been an exposure at church, we will let you know while protecting the privacy of the person who was here. Together, we covenant to reduce the risk of COVID by each doing our part. Our call to worship this morning is from Reverend Gretchen Haley. There is nothing you need to bring with you to be welcome here. No right beliefs, no proof of citizenship or eternal optimism. No clarity of conviction, no boundless courage or endless expertise. You do not need to know what brought you here, or how you will solve that problem that you are turning over and over and over in your mind. Your bills do not need to be paid, and your checkbook can be a mess. Your children or you as teens may have been up half the night. Your hearing aids may not be working. Your knees may be creaking. You do not need to be perfect or even halfway there to belong in this circle where grace meets us as we are, but does not leave us as it found us. Where love resides in each of us, yet is somehow more than all of us. Where life still pulses and rages and heals and transforms, creating us and this day anew once again. Welcome to church. Jim Snyder Grant has our chalice lighting today.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. It connects us to other Unitarian Universalists across our country and even across the world. We kindle its flame each time we come together in worship. Today, we light our chalice in honor of our third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregation. May we each feel accepted here, accept others for who they are, and celebrate one another's growth and resilience. Now let's join together in our chalice lighting response. The words are in your order of service and on a slide. O flame of our faith, open our hearts and fill our bodies and souls with persistent strength, enliven our spirits, and engage us deeply in this life of ours, this sacred, essential moment now.
Thank you, Jim. And Sarah Ballard has our pledge campaign testimonial today. Come on up, Sarah.
Good morning. My story is a familiar one, and many of you probably have one that is similar. My husband, Stoney, and I first came here so our children could attend Sunday school, but we ended up staying for ourselves. When our 6-year-old son, Rick, told me that when he went to a friend's house, they prayed before meals, and he felt embarrassed because he didn't know what he was supposed to do, I realized that I had been negligent about our children's religious education and that I needed to do something. We had recently moved to Concord, and I heard that First Parish had a great RE program, so I wanted to check out this church. On my first Sunday, I was greeted warmly, and I decided to enroll our kids in the RE classes. It was a good decision. I was happy to find a church that had a program that aligned with our beliefs and values and that wouldn't try to indoctrinate our children into any creed. They did have wonderful and meaningful experiences in the RE program, but in the meantime, we found that this was a spiritual community we wanted for ourselves too. The key word is community. And we have made many different connections here that have enriched our lives in numerous ways. I remember something that Jan Dever, a former RE director here, said that made an impression on me. She told us that research has shown that for optimal happiness, people need at least 3 different places where they make connections and friends. That could be extended families, school, work, shared hobbies, and more. But church is an excellent place to do that, and I've certainly found that to be true. First Parish is where I found a very caring community of people who share the values I hold most dear, but who also challenge me to grow, ask questions, be open to new ideas, and to be my best self. It has also allowed me to acquire new skills and confidence in my ability to be a leader. Over the years, I've developed deep friendships here with people I've come to consider my second family. The many Ferry Beach and women's retreats I've attended have been wonderful opportunities to get to know fellow parishioners on a deeper level than can happen at coffee hour. Singing with the choir has been a truly joyful experience that feeds my spirit. Serving on committees that work to support the church or make the world a better place has given me a sense of accomplishment and camaraderie. Being involved with our Transylvanian partnership has been hugely rewarding and has expanded my worldview. Before coming here, I could never have imagined I would have the opportunity to make good friends on the other side of the world. These are just some of the many ways that I've made connections at First Parish that have enriched my life. These connections have been especially important and sustaining during these past 2 difficult years of social isolation during COVID. I'm so grateful to have found my church home here, and I can't imagine my life without it. That's why Stoney and I are happy to make a generous pledge each year to support this wonderful institution and the important work it does. I hope that you will all feel inspired to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Our opening hymn is number 354 in our gray hymnal. We're just going to sing the first verse and save the rest for later. So number 354 in your gray hymnal or on the screen.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need our friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer.
Feels good. Today, we are partly celebrating because our numbers of COVID case numbers are going down. And at the same time, I do want to mark and honor that it's now 2 years into this pandemic. And so our our reading today is by Reverend Sean Dennison Parker, entitled How to Survive an Apocalypse. First, learn to listen, not only for enemies around corners in hidden places, but for the faint footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. Hone your skills, aim your heart towards kindness, and stockpile second chances. Under the weight of destruction, we will need the strong shelter of forgiveness and the deeper wells that give the sweet water of welcome. We have a place for you. When the world ends, we must not add destruction to destruction, not accept a beggar's bargain to fight death with more death. In order to survive the apocalypse, any apocalypse at all, we have to give up the counterfeit currency of self-sufficiency, the mistaken addiction to competition, the lie that the last to die has somehow survived.
Please join in our responsive reading. It's in the back of your gray hymnal, number 437. Let us worship. The words are also on your screen. I'll read the first lines and invite you and Brendan to respond with the italics. Number 437. Let us worship with our eyes and ears and fingertips.
Let us worship our heart and mind and body.
We feed our eyes upon the mystery and revelation in the faces of our brothers and sisters.
We seek to know the wistfulness of the very young and the very old, the wistfulness of people in all times of life.
We seek to understand the shyness behind arrogance, the fear behind pride, the tenderness behind clumsy strength, the anguish behind cruelty.
All life flows into a great common life if we will only open our eyes to our companions.
Let us worship, not in bowing down, not with closed eyes and stopped ears.
Let us worship with the opening of all the windows of our beings, with the full outstretching of our spirits.
Life comes with singing and laughter, with tears and confiding, with a rising wave too great to be held in the mind and heart and body, to those who have fallen in love with life.
Let us worship and let us learn to love.
Once, I got to see ultrasound images of my heart beating. The video showed the central heart wall with valves on each side that pump our blood through our bodies. The valves moved in concert together, quickly and mightily up and down, opening and closing, and their movement around that central wall looked entirely like a dancer. I was struck. This dancer, ecstatic, like I'd been let in on some great secret. My heart was a dancer. And then I realized it wasn't just my heart. All of our hearts are dancing. All of our lives proclaiming joyfully that we are alive. The experience was even more profound because I was born with a hole in my heart. It was surgically repaired when I was 4 years old, one of a series of surgeries that I had to correct anomalies that I was born with. My heart, born with a hole, was now a powerful dancer. But even before the hole was repaired, my heart was already dancing. When there was a hole, I was dancing. And today, dancing. Both stories are true at once. Our hearts are simultaneously broken and whole. We are simultaneously broken and whole. When we are hurting, our hearts are still mighty. When we feel powerful, our hearts can still be open. We are vulnerably open and powerfully dancing all the time. Over the past 2 years, I have sometimes lost sight of this insight. The pandemic has been hard. It's been easy to feel isolated, or I know for some of you, hard to find any time alone whatsoever, and that too can be lonely in a weird way. Sometimes it's been easy to feel afraid. Our so-called leaders made an evil choice to politicize masks and vaccines, making it harder to reach herd immunity, and the rise of fascist and white supremacist violence and rhetoric have been terrible. We are living through an apocalypse. There is a hole in our hearts. And yet, I have seen us dancing. We have been resilient through this time. My colleague, Reverend Ren McFadden, describes resilience as the word that best describes how the human spirit survives, even thrives, in times that threaten existence. They observe that to be resilient is to be disempowered and empowered in the same moment. And throughout the pandemic, we certainly have been limited and disempowered in some ways. Yet we have also claimed our power as resourceful members of the human community. More broadly, Ren writes, I don't believe resilience has anything to do with getting back to normal, to the original condition, the way things used to be. That kind of expectation is full of ego and the desire to control. And it can result in frustration and disappointment, fear, anger, and sorrow. Rather than trying to get back to the way things used to be, resilience surrenders to the emergent, the unknown, the uncharted new territory. Ren concludes, I kind of think that resilience is only possible through our relationships and making a place for yourself within community where you are heard, seen, and included. It is co-created in safe spaces, circles of trust. This definition of resilience centers our interconnectedness. We need one another now more than ever. And together we have been resilient. Willingly or not, we have surrendered to the emergent and unknown. We have adapted again and again to changing science, changing technology, changing social norms, changing everything. We have found ways to connect online and outside in all sorts of weather. We have adopted tools that keep us safer inside, including masks, distance, and ventilation. We have celebrated the fact that our vaccinations protect not only ourselves, but by lowering the risk that we are carriers of COVID-19, also protect others. Many of us have contributed to mutual aid funds or are bringing rapid tests to send to New Bedford. For 2 entire years, we have done what we could to ensure that we would not add destruction to destruction, would not meet the threat of death by heaping on more needless death. I have seen us as a community move towards more welcome, move towards more being able to say to one another and to strangers at our doors, welcome, we have a place for you. I think of the Belonging Team's incredible effort last spring to bring daffodils to each of our homes. I think of the Congregational Life Committee acting as hosts for our Zoom chat and the welcome table so that anyone wondering how to get involved has a peer to whom they can turn. I think of those of you from the Immigration Justice Task Force who said yes to supporting Afghan refugees and responded nimbly to each new need. I know that not everyone has been able to say yes in these ways. For some of us, just getting through the day has required all the energy we could muster. Grief, depression, and anxiety have taken too much of a toll. Sadly, these days, struggling with your mental health is far too normal. And I know it is also exhausting. Some of you have been barely able to get out of bed. You may not have told me, you may have, but I know. Each day when you did was a victory born of resilience. Each time you called or texted a friend was a victory of connection and resilience. We honor that resilience and the ways in which your heart has continued to dance underneath the layers of pain and numbness. My heart especially goes out to parents and caregivers, those of you who have struggled mightily trying to find some impossible mythical balance of home and work and online school or this, that, or the other school and whatever else you've been asked to juggle, all of the caretaking tasks that go unnamed. And the same thing goes for you kids, trying to figure out how to be a child or a teenager and somehow navigate maybe school and maybe a social life in there and figure out who you are and how to grow up. For those of you who have not found the energy during the pandemic to show up to one more thing, I get it. And I hope you know that church is still here for you. We see the effort you are making just to survive. To all of you who are struggling, we see the effort, I see the effort that you are making just to survive. I honor your resilience, the ways in which your heart is dancing even when you cannot feel it. If you have stayed away, please know that you are welcome here. Let yourself be seen and heard in this community just as you are. As Gretchen Haley writes, you do not need to be already perfect or even halfway to belong in this circle, where grace meets us, where love resides, where life still pulses and rages and heals and transforms. It is our resilient, dancing hearts that have brought us through these past 2 years and that will lead us onwards. I can only wonder what the future will bring. On the pandemic front, I'm hopeful because case numbers are dropping, but then I hear rumors of another new variant over in Europe, and maybe it's here. I can only wonder what the future will bring, but I'm glad we will face it together. I also wonder what the future will bring here at church. I'm optimistic about it. The visioning work that our standing committee has invited us into aligns well with the questions that our interim senior minister will guide us through starting next year. We are well positioned to look at where we've been, where we are now, and where we want to go next. I'm hopeful that we can keep our hearts open, listening to one another about our dreams and hopes for this community. First, of course, come the next few months. I am sad to be saying goodbye to Howard. I've really loved working with him. But given that he's leaving, I want to take the time to say a good goodbye. And I want us all to do that, to take the time for a good goodbye. In a good goodbye, we can be honest about our relationships. There's space for our sadness and anger, for our gratitude and celebration, and for everything in between. A good goodbye honors Howard's ministry and our own spirits. It also clears a space for what is next, both our next senior minister and our next phase as a congregation, so that we can move forward together. Friends, our hearts are dancers. We are living in a time when sorrow and joy are interwoven, and yet our hearts dance on. They carry us through from day to day, resilient and alive. I want to close with a quick note about post-traumatic growth. Have you heard of it? Most of us are more familiar with post-traumatic stress, but it turns out studies show that once a trauma is over, relatively few people are left with the symptoms that constitute PTSD. If that happens to you, it's not your fault. We can talk about it, right? But for most of us, we show signs of resilience and growth in the months and years that follow a major challenge. Our resilient hearts look at the hardships we have survived and make meaning from them. We use our pain for good, bringing more love and care into our community and into our world, creating a wider welcome. That is my hope for us. As we come through this time of pandemic isolation, we are invited to draw the circle wide and then wider still. Side by side, let us feel the wonder of this life. Let us worship with our eyes and ears and fingertips open to the mystery of it all. Let us listen for the footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. May we aim our dancing hearts towards kindness, second chances, and the widest circle of welcome that we can imagine. Amen, and blessed be. Thanks, y'all. So now it's your turn. I have a reflection question for you. If you're at home, feel free to type in the chat and read one another's responses. And if you're here in the building, scooch a little closer to someone next to you. The question I invite you to contemplate is, when in the past 2 years have you felt your heart dance? When have you felt your heart dance?
This is why being in community is so important. Good morning. I say good morning. So good to see so many people here. My heart just dances. Okay. All right. So we are about to sing for you the song Draw the Circle Wide. Thanks to this wonderful congregation, I had an opportunity to attend a music conference, and I had the pleasure of meeting Mark Miller, who is the person who wrote the music to this song. And what was wonderful about him is that he exudes happiness. And when I asked him about, because first of all, seeing this song being performed with a choir of 600 people was just the most amazing experience ever. So that's a personal thing. So thank you for those of you, just like Sarah says, the money that you give really gives us an opportunity to enrich our lives and to bring you wonderful music. So thank you. So that's another thing that I wanted to say. But this song, Draw the Circle Wide, Mr. Miller believes that music can change the world. The words of the refrain, draw the circle wide, brings to mind that in a circle, all points are in the same distance from the center. When in a circle, all are visible to one another. No one stands alone. The refrain also reminds us that a circle is drawn when the outside point revolves around the center point rather than vice versa. And this song reminds us that we need to be a community that must continue to nurture each other. So please join us as we sing Draw the Circle Wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle there's no relief. We will hold you until the storm subsides. We'll draw the circle, draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. No one stands alone. Oh, we are standing side by side. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone. Standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Don't be alone. We are standing side by side. Draw. No one stands alone. We are standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw it, draw the circle wide.
Thank you all. It occurs to me that some of you might not have gotten to meet Brendan yet, but Brendan Ferrari has been with us since fall of last year, right? Yeah, so like almost 18 months now, and has been doing really wonderful work with our children and families all through the pandemic. Thank you. So friends, we can hold on to this spirit, and I invite us also to hold on and enter into a time of prayer and meditation together. We don't have to have them separate. We can have them at the same time. Each week when we draw a wide circle, I invite you to share what is on your hearts and minds, the highs and lows of your life. And if you would like, we hold them together in this community. This week, I share that Paula A. is recovering from a fall. She had a cut that required stitches, but she's healing well. And Paula appreciates our well wishes, and so we offer her a blessing for continued healing. Who else would you like to hold in prayer and meditation together? I invite you to call their names aloud now and type them into the chat. And let's join for Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow when the wind, rise in the sea, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Will you pray with me? Spirit of life, you who teach us that life is full of highs and lows, that they are so often intertwined and that we live so often in between. This is a prayer for everyone who is hurting or grieving today, especially Paula. May all who are hurting, injured, or grieving find their steady hearts dancing through the pain. May they know comfort and healing. May they feel our care. This is a prayer, too, for all of us as we mark 2 years of the pandemic. May we honor our surviving and thriving, our connection and resilience. May we keep our hearts open and hold fast to all that gives us hope. God, help us to draw a wide circle of love. Let us sit together now in a moment of meditation and prayer for ourselves, for our community, and for our world. Let's do Find a Stillness. Do you have Find a Stillness? It's...
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
I'm sorry, Jennifer. That was my bad. Sometimes our prayers have our sadness and our happiness, our silence and stillness, and a little bit of an upswing. I invite you to just be as you are and continue in the space that you need. Our mission engages us to build community, deepen spiritually, and work for justice. At this time in our service, we offer a reflection on the ways in which our actions can shape the world. When we act in ways that support and hold beloved community, we are acting socially, widening the circle for the good of the whole. Sometimes this requires sacrifice, sometimes it requires courage, and always it requires love. Jim Snyder Grant, who has been our liturgist today, has our social action candle, which we will light for our Share the Plate organization, Alternatives for Community and Environment.
As I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, two movements captured my heart: the environmental movement and the civil rights movement. For most of the rest of that century, these two parts of my life felt like they occupied different parts of my heart and my life. Environmental events and environmental organizations that I'd participate in were almost entirely white. And to many of my white friends in those days, civil rights seemed like it was an issue of the past or an issue for other people to work on. But something important started changing. Activists fighting the placement of polluting factories, landfills, and energy facilities recognized that these facilities were being placed largely in communities where most people were Black or Indigenous or other people of color. The terms environmental racism and environmental justice spread from activists to scholars and to various levels of government. And in Roxbury, in the heart of Black Boston, an organization called Alternatives for Community and Environment was born in the mid-1990s. Its first big victory was the creation of an alliance that successfully stopped an asphalt batching plant from coming into South Boston. They've continued with a community development model, engaging primarily Black residents of Roxbury and Dorchester and other minority neighborhoods, and bringing them together with advocacy organizations to create pressure for a brighter future. They've worked on green job programs, bus and subway fares, air monitoring, and more. Learning about their work and supporting their work has brought my heart together and made it sing. I commend them to you for your support during March's Share the Plate.
Our Share the Plate program, as Jim mentioned, is where we take our offering and then split it 50-50 with this organization, a different one each month. So as we take our offering today, know that your money will go some towards the good work of First Parish and some towards the good work of Alternatives for Community and Environment. ACE does really good work, and I also commend them to you. We welcome your donations by cash, check, or text, or online. Online, you'll see the link to give via the website, and you can pledge right there right at the same time too. Thank you for your generosity. The offering will be gratefully received.
As we approach the end of our service, I invite you to stick around. As Liz often says, we are 7 days a week church. You can find out about everything that's happening by reading FP Weekly, which arrives in your inbox on Fridays. Today, if you'd like to join a small group to talk about the worship service, please feel welcome to join us at the Worship Sharing Circle. Sarah Ford Terry is facilitating. The link for those who want to participate online will be in the chat at the end of the service. And for those participating in person, let's meet outside. It's too gorgeous. So somewhere between here and Wright Tavern, we'll be outside in a circle of chairs. If you prefer a less structured time, please come to coffee hour. Coffee is downstairs in the kitchen. Please continue to mask in the building and bring your coffee outside to the terrace. At coffee hour, if you have questions about church life, Virginia Taylor is here as our standing committee rep. Virginia, where are you? Oh, there you go. And Sophie Wadsworth from the Congregational Life Committee will be at the welcome table. Sophie, hi. Now let's sing together now. Our closing hymn is the same as the opening. It's 354 in your gray hymnal. We laugh, we cry. If you're at home, the words will be on your screen. We'll pick up where we left off, starting with verse 2 and singing through to the end. Again, that's 354, starting with verse 2. Let's sing.
A child is born among us, and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a time to be together. And with the grace of age, we share the wonder of youth, and we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder, and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills us all with pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends, they will linger on and on. And we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. and we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, may we finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
We believe in life. We believe in the strength of love. We are broken and whole simultaneously. When we feel hurt, our hearts are still mighty. When we feel powerful, our hearts can still be open. And so go forth and let your heart be vulnerably open and powerfully dancing all the time. Let's join together in our benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings.